Hi, my name's Ed. Welcome to Teohoken Turning, where there's a place for everything. Nothing ever seems to be in its place, but we'll always have a place for you. So come on in, pull up a shop stool, make yourself comfortable, and let's get to work. Today, we're not really going to do any work. This is just going to be our channel introduction. So, once again, my name's Ed, and I live in a small town in the southern Adirondack Mountains in New York State. And I've been wood turning as a hobby for about 15 years, making all sorts of gifts for families and friends. And I prefer to turn small items like pens and rings. And I'm not really into turning bowls and platters and larger things like that. It just doesn't interest me. So I retired as a software engineer in January of 2025. And in order to allow my wife to, or in order for my wife to allow me to continue to live, I decided to turn my hobby into a small side hustle, to keep me active and keep me going, make some extra cash, and upgrade the shop without impacting the family budget. And so Teohoken Turning was created. The next question to be answered is, what are we going to create and sell? And I have a source of highly spalted maple as well as cherry and other burls. I have equipment to stabilize the material using cactus juice. So I decided that my products would be made from stabilized, highly figured wood and polished to a mirror finish to differentiate my products from other wood turners in the area. I decided to sell wine and whiskey bottle stoppers, bottle openers, and beer tap handles, and proceeded to create an inventory of stabilized products. More about that in a second. At the same time, I also proceeded to gather the tent and the items I would need to display my products at local craft fairs and registered for several craft fairs. And I also created a website from which I could sell my products. And now for the Great Awakening. The first craft fair that I attended provided an immediate wake-up call. I cannot count the number of women who came into the tent and stated that they love the look of the wood and love the smoothness of the surface, but they don't drink. Okay. I sold 2 items that craft fair, which barely covered my expenses. Upon returning home, I researched what alternative products I could create that would be more acceptable to the market. I decided to create tea light holders and bud vases, so I proceeded to create an inventory of those. I've been to 3 more shows since that first one, and sales have increased steadily. At the last show that I attended, we sold 6 items, and although that's not earth-shattering, it is a vast improvement over the first show. So the future, based on experiences in the past, I have decided to go back to something that I've done. In the past, I've turned wooden inlay rings using ceramic cores for the women in my family as gifts. I have the tools, I have the knowledge to create rings, earrings, and pendants. I had refrained from doing this initially because of the cost of the ring cores. They're like $8 or $9 a shot, and a number of cores that would have to be purchased to create a decent inventory. You got to remember, you got to go from like 6.5 to about 9 in sizes. That's a lot of money to spend up front, especially when you're not sure you're going to sell, a particular size. I just felt it was cost prohibitive, which is why I went the way I did with the bottle openers and the bottle stoppers and tap handles. But what I've decided to do now is to create wooden rings that have no core at all, which remove the cost of purchasing the cores from the equation and make it much more palatable for me to proceed. I'll also be creating earrings and pendants. I'm not going to include the chains for the pendants because women have preferences for clasp, preferences for materials, and most women already have a chain, and if not, they'll buy a chain that they like. So we're not going to do the chains, we're just going to do the pendants themselves. We're going to transition into creating stabilized wooden and resin jewelry, which will be the main items that we sell at craft fairs. Okay. We will continue to keep the bottle stoppers, the bottle openers, and the beer tap handles in our inventory. And if we come upon a craft show where it makes sense to sell those items, we'll feature those. In the meantime, they'll still be for sale on our website along with the jewelry. Yeah. So every venture should have a goal. So what are the goals for this for me? Okay. Well, have fun. If this ever starts feeling like a job, I'm retired at this point in time. I need to stop, sit back, and analyze what's going on. Make things that people would like, that are of high quality, and that will last. Learn some new techniques and expand the skill set. Make some new friends. Improve the shop as funds allows, and grow the business. Okay? What's in this for you? Well, I'm assuming that you're watching YouTube to either be entertained or to learn, and we hope that we can meet one, if not both, of those requirements for you. This channel is going to cover an adventure. It's not going to be about wood turning and how to learn how to turn and all of that stuff. You'll pick hints up as we go along. We're going to turn tons of stuff on this channel, don't get me wrong, but this is about the adventure of building a small business from a hobby. Okay, and we're going to fail. We're going to screw up. We're going to make mistakes. We're also going to succeed. Okay, and hopefully, both I and you will learn from this. And if you're thinking of proceeding along these lines and starting a little side hustle, maybe you won't make the mistakes that I did. Okay. So anyways, our aim is to publish every Monday evening and to cover all aspects of running and growing this little small enterprise. And, that's pretty much it for the intro. I just want to thank you for your time. And now we're going to take a quick tour of the shop. Well, I thought we'd start the shop tour in the resin room. And it's simply about an 8-foot by 10-foot enclosed space that we use for resin casting and stabilization. And we wanted this so we have a door that we can close and keep the shop dust out of our resin. We found that to be somewhat of a problem periodically. So this is the resin room. Nothing elaborate, and nothing in our shop is elaborate, but it gets the job done, and that's what's important to us. And this is the main shop, and down here we have our scrapped spalted wood and wood that we would use for crafting. But then scrolling across, we have our primary workbench with our hand tools, table saw. We like that. It's a Ryobi. It's pretty accurate. It's easy to use. It's a good machine. Woodworker's workbench, toolbox for the supplies for turning, the turning station, which is a jet lathe. This is a little work area that we have that's ventilated and has a light. Was primarily put there to be a spray booth. I haven't used it as a spray booth yet. We have everything we need. We just haven't had the need to do it. But we are currently using it as a space to make rings and apply UV resin. And the Chinese drill press, not the most accurate thing on the planet, and we do most of our drilling on the lathe anyways. We have a Grizzly Geo 948. Not exactly happy with this piece of equipment. We bought it to replace a really old Sears Craftsman bandsaw that we had, and the thing that bothers me the most about this is the the way the fence is set up. If you'll notice, if I take you around to the other side, the fence doesn't wrap around the table at all, and when you go to set it, you'll see that it moves a lot left and right. It's very hard to get an accurate depth setting. Other than that, it's a good saw, but that's annoying. Well, the other thing that's annoying is the fact that the work light is on the back side of the work and not the front side of the work. Not exactly the best saw on the planet, but gets the job done. Over here is my CNC center. Nothing elaborate, just a 4030 Prover and a laptop to drive it. And then over here Here's our sanding center. We have a Ryobi belt and disc sander combination and a oscillating spindle sander and a Harbor Freight mini belt and spindle belt and disc sander. And that's it. That's the shop. Well, that concludes the intro and the shop tour. So we'd like to thank you for your time. We very much appreciate you watching the video. So we got just one more small favor to ask. That is, like this video, comment if you feel so inclined, and above all, subscribe. Because from here on out, we're going to actually do some work and start making some stuff. The next video that we're going to publish, which we're scheduled to publish next Thursday, we're going to turn a pair of salt and pepper grinders as gifts for my daughter's birthday. It should be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you there. Once again, thanks for your time. Very much appreciated. Bye.